Hi everyone, welcome to the healthy community of HealthClickAway. This is Ruchika Gupta. I am the CEO of the app HealthClickAway. Today we have with us Mr. Gabriel Grady, and he is a fitness expert. Hi Gabriel.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Welcome to our live event for HealthClickAway, and tell us something about yourself.
Well, yes, she already said my name is Gabriel. I was definitely born here in Houston, Texas, born and raised. Graduated from Lamar University with an exercise science degree. After that, I've been in the fitness industry for roughly about 5-6 years, give or take, and then plus going back to high school playing football, you know. But my specialty, as far as like what I prefer and specialize in, is basically rehabilitation, you know, movement, you know, efficient movement efficiency, whether it's for everyday people or athletes, you know. So we're dynamic neuromuscular stabilization is the different levels that I go get my certifications in, and I incorporate that into my workouts with people in addition to body transformation.
Awesome. So today we are here to know a few tips from you which can help people lose weight naturally. Can you describe them?
So yeah, a few tips. It's actually real simple. Like the main tip, which is really not even a tip, is to not overthink it. You know, we tend to overthink our bodies, you know, we try to outsmart our bodies, you know, things of that nature, but to keep everything simple, you know, and that even comes with working out, keeping everything simple. You see all these different videos online, people doing all types of random things you didn't want to try. It's like, no, your bicep is meant to pick up a weight from here and curl it to there. You know, that's what it does, you know, so you're doing simple curls, you don't have to do all this extra stuff. The same thing when it comes to eating, with your nutritional intake is keeping it simple. You know, that's the main thing, you know, when it comes to that. Now, as far as like a tip, number one, I would say cycling your carbohydrates. You know, that's like starting at a very foundational level is cycling your carbohydrates. So what are carbs? I get that question a lot. Okay, what are carbs?
Right.
You know, I have no idea what are carbs. So I like to tell people if it was grown in the ground, it's a carbohydrate, right? And those are the good carbs.
Like
potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, anything, any type of legume, bean. If it was grown and then consumed in that natural form, then that right there are carbs, and it's good carbs, you know. But then you also have bread, of course, you know, bread processed. It's not grown. You're not about to go and pick up a loaf of bread out of the ground. You know, it's actually go through a whole process. You know, that's honestly, and even, you know, I was about to say flour is definitely a process as well. But yeah, so that's the main thing. Carbohydrates is for sure anything that's grown from the ground, those are good carbs. Bad carbs, quote unquote, is anything processed. Definitely breads and sugars.
which we open packet and use.
Exactly. If you went through some type of line and you open a packet, and it has multiple ingredients that you cannot pronounce, a whole paragraph of ingredients you cannot pronounce, yeah, those are definitely bad carbs. And actually, people ask me all the time as far as sugars. You know, a lot of people have different, you know, opinions when it comes to sugars, you know, especially like fruit. You know, like, hey, that's good, right? It's a good carb. It comes from the ground. Yes, you know, then at the same time, your body still sees all sugar as the same. You know, yes, it has still less amount of calories, but you don't eat a lot of oranges and a lot of grapes and still a lot of sugar.
I want to add one thing here. So I think for fruits also, what is healthy, still we need to eat in moderation. That's the key.
Correct.
We cannot, even if it is healthy, we cannot keep it eating.
Correct.
It will add to our
Exactly. Everything is in moderation. I tell people, you can die from drinking water.
Yes.
You can drink too much water in a day and you will die. But yeah, water is great for you. You know, so it's definitely everything in moderation. Now, when it comes to the good sugars and bad sugars, when it comes to fruit, the best sources of fruit that you can eat and it still has lower amount of sugar is strawberries, blueberries. Those are honestly the top two: strawberries, blueberries, and any type of like raspberry and things of that nature. But definitely strawberries and blueberries honestly should be a go-to. Mostly water. Exactly. Watermelon as well. But now then when you go to mangoes, you go to grapes, apples, bananas, one little mini banana has 30 grams of sugar. You know, that's 30 grams of sugar. That's a lot.
That's why you say that eating moderation.
Eat the moderation, exactly. And then also time. You know, it's good. Because, like, for instance, banana is, like, say if you wake up first thing in the morning and you eat a banana, that's not, the better option to eat a banana is right after a workout. You know, when your body is actually, you know, prepared to break that down and then replace the glycogen, not to get too deep, but basically your glycogen, what's stored in your muscles. You know what I'm saying? The sugar that's stored in your muscles is called glycogen. When your body is prepared to replace that is after workouts. So that's really the best time to eat sugar. If you are going to consume it, it's definitely right after a workout.
And you say like protein is also good.
Protein's amazing.
Yes. So tell us.
Protein is amazing. Like, there are people who would say you need a half a gram per body weight, you know, for protein. It's like, no. A gram per body weight, per pound of your body weight. So if I weigh 190, I'm saying eat per day, eat 190 grams of protein, consume 190 grams of protein, whether I'm trying to build muscle or I'm trying to lose weight, you know, because I don't want to lose muscle. Yeah, you don't want to lose muscle, you know, and then that's what that's what grows your muscle called protein, you know. It breaks down into amino acid chains, it can actually build in the actual muscles. Carbohydrates actually stored in muscles as well, but that gives it the bloat. Like, so like for instance, if you, did I mention that point? No. But if you, like, say if you stop eating carbs for an extended period of time, and you start working out, get fatigued, or we call it feeling flat. So there's no pump in your muscle, like when you're working out, you get a pump in your muscle, you don't get that because there's no glycogen in your muscles. But as soon as you eat carbs of any sort, those glycogen is replaced and you're feeling full. That's
so
full.
Sometimes people think that we need to do crash diet or starvation or low carb diet.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea.
It depends. It depends. Like, if me or somebody else has a photo shoot in a month, and I've been eating whatever, I'm definitely gonna go on a crash diet for about 4 weeks. 3 weeks. But yeah, no. That's what I say. Crash diets for a very short, or if you got vacation, like, oh snap, I forgot I'm going to the Bahamas next month. Time to get ready, right? Then that's when you got to crash for that. But then people like use that as a crutch. I think I'm gonna do that every single time because it's not healthy. Crash diet, that's not a healthy way of doing it. But if you have a short period of time, the healthy way is it takes a long time. A pound to 2 pounds a week, but you got 20 pounds to lose. Not 8. But yeah, definitely crash diet is not to go. And that actually brings me to my second point of cycling your carbohydrates. And that's an easy way to, and I'm going to actually tie that in with intermittent fasting. So cycling your carbs. So yeah, I mentioned the types of carbs and cycling your carbs. So what I mean by cycling your carbs, there's a few different ways you can actually do it, right? You can have it by days or groups of days or times in that day or all of the above, right? So there's 7 days in the week, right? Yes, the weekends count. Unfortunately, calories do count on the weekends. I wish they did it, but they do count on the weekends. So there's 7 days in a week, right? So let's say 3 out of those days you want to do no carbs or less than 50 grams. If you're eating less than 50 grams a day to your body, that's your carbs, okay? So less than 50 grams a day for carbohydrates for those 3 days. But the other 4, you're doing moderate carbs, right? That's the type of cycling your carbs, right? Low carb and higher carb days, right? And the purpose of cycling your carbohydrates is when no matter as far as calories consumed, no matter what is in excess gets stored as fat. Okay? Even in excess protein, your body will break it down and store it as fat, right? Because it's in excess. But carbohydrates is the very first thing, right? So your main 2 storage places for carbohydrates is your liver as well as your muscle cells in the form of glycogen. You break it down into your cells in the form of glycogen, and then your glucose receptors, group 4 and group 5, actually take those and then penetrate it inside the cells and store it in the muscles, right? And when we don't deplete those storages, main two, muscles and liver, if those are full and always full, and you consume an excess amount of carbs, where's the third storage? Fat. Right? So if the first two storages are full in your muscle cells and then your liver, it goes right into your fat cells automatically. Automatically. And that's what we don't do, right? We don't deplete those storages. So because we don't deplete those storages, all of the excess we get consumed go inside our fat cells. Right? So there's also a misconception of your body creating more fat cells. No. You have the same amount of fat cells, those cells just grow bigger. You know? So you have to deplete the size of those cells after depleting. That's why, like, you ever lost a lot of weight, and also for you guys watching, you ever lost a lot of weight, and then next thing you know, the weight come back with vengeance? Because we go on a crash diet, right? We deplete all those cells, but the size of the cell doesn't decrease. So it automatically fills right back up even faster. So it'll come back with vengeance. You know, come back faster than it took to lose it. You know, so it's not sustainable. You know, so when you brought up the crash diets, that's the one. Crash diets aren't healthy it's just unhealthy. But then it's not sustainable because of that.
Right.
You know, that's why you got to do it the right way, to do it slow. It definitely takes time. The longer you see stuff decreasing, whether it's pounds or inches, you get inches over pounds any day. See that decreasing, then the size of those fat cells actually decrease.
So I think for that, you need to adopt a healthy lifestyle, which you can follow, and it will help you in the long run. Instead of looking for short-term goals, you can have that.
Exactly, and that's the great thing about the app. You know, being able to actually track all those calories, track especially with those carbs, and especially with the fats.
Yes. So in our app, they tell us how can you track your calories and your macronutrients and your intake and your footsteps, so you can without keeping the burden of remembering all those things.
It's right there. It's right there. And honestly, it's the hard truth. Because you might have this, you think that's a healthier option or your go-to food, and then you're trying to like adopt a better way of eating, nutritional lifestyle, and you input it in there, and you realize like, oh, this thing got 30 grams of fat and 60 grams of sugar. Fat and sugars have an inverse relationship. Okay? So if you're going higher in fat, you're going really fat and carbs, not fat and sugar. Fat and carbs are inverse relationship. So higher in fats, lower in carbs. If you're going higher in carbs, lower in fat. Everything that's not good for you, but it tastes oh so good, has high fat and high carbs. You know, if you see that combination, no matter what it is, run. You know, don't eat it unless you're treating yourself with something good. But yes, inverse relationship between fat and carbs.
Okay, and tell something about the good protein sources so we can
So great protein sources is that's actually. And that's going back to the app, you know, because the app has this database of a lot of different things. So you might, like say you have, especially with trainers, right? You have a client and they don't eat meat, but you tell them that you got to get 190 grams of protein. And you're like, I don't eat meat, right? But there's also a lot of other things that you can eat. Well, as a trainer, if I don't have that knowledge base, that's where the app comes in. You know, because they're scanning these different things, you might run across something like, wow, that has a lot of protein in it. Right. I had no idea, but yet it fits you whether you're vegetarian, whether if you're a pescatarian, vegan, or anything of that nature. There's different ways you can get those protein sources from. You know, I would say a bad source of protein would be anything, if you look at the ingredients and it says mechanically separated. You know, that's a little bit another level of it. But if you see a protein, because it might have, you look at a piece of package of meat, if you do eat meat, and it says, oh, nice, 20 grams of protein per serving, and it got 8 servings in it. Amazing. It's mechanically separated protein, meaning they got it's still within a process. It's not in its natural source, so they mechanically separate and put together. So like this. Not to get too deep, but yeah, that's a bad source of protein. If you see in the ingredients, mechanically separated.
And can you just explain that whipped cream thing?
Oh, not cool whipped cream.
Yes, whipped cream. So you always have to look for the ingredients.
Yes. Yeah, although like my wife hates going to the store with me because I'll pick up 100 items and only get 3. Because I'm like, if I look at them, like, the ingredients, I'm not going to do it. look at the calorie count. I just can't do it because it's just not enough. Like it's just you can take little small bites, but yet you get all these calories. But like when it comes to whipped cream, not Cool Whip. Cool Whip have hydrogenated oils, which is trans fat. Definitely stay away from that on all counts.
You remember one time it was saying like 5 calories per serving,
Yeah.
and the whole bottle was just four
servings,
But
right?
no, it was saying full bottle is for 38 servings. But we end up using it in 4 servings. So we end up eating not 5 calories, but
it's like 20. You know, it has like 20 calories. But like if you're going to that, then you're probably not eating sugar, right? You're probably trying to stay away from sweets. But if you throw Cool Whip on top of your coffee, on top of your protein shakes, on top of your strawberries and blueberry mixed together, oh man, it's a whole nother ballgame. You know, it brings it to a whole nother level. It satisfies that craving.
But you still have to eat.
Yes. But thing is, like, if you're worried about 20 calories putting you over, we do this whole other conversation.
No, so we need that time we need to be mindful how much.
Exactly, because you mess around in one setting, eat the whole half the container.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, all right.
Yes.
All right, now, come
then
on.
Then it's not just 5 or 20, it's going to be 120.
It's going to be 120.
Yes.
At that point, it's like, okay, well, let's tone it down, because now you're still eating a lot of sugar. And then sometimes even food has, that fat will add up as well, all fat adds up. You should be anywhere between, 40 to 60 grams a day. That's like a nice, comfortable range with fats. Yeah.
Okay. So can you just now tell about how the physical activity or the exercise or anything which can be naturally like in this period of
Okay. Yeah. So to tie that in with the cycling of the carbs, right, and the intermittent fasting. Okay. And like if you want to you're definitely advised to basically physical activity, whether it's 30 minutes a day or you pick your 3 days a week and you want to do an hour. That's amazing. Because think about it, right? So if I'm cycling my carbs, that means, and I'm intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting means you have a block out of the 24 hours a day of your eating food, right? And you're eating all your calories in that one block. So like say if I stop eating at 7 p.m. the night before and I don't start eating until 12 the next day, right? So from 7 p.m. one day to 12 the next day, you went to sleep that night. That's when your body actually burns fat, is when you're sleeping, not when you're working out. Okay? All of that, you can run and walk 20,000 steps in a day and you ain't lose no weight. You probably gained a little bit, but that's not going to, the weight loss has happened until overnight, right? So you have that, and then now you're waking up on the fat in a fasted state. Your body is in a fat mobilization state, and you do fasted cardio. Okay, so like say you wake up in the morning, first thing in the morning, you go for a walk, right? You go for a jog, you go lift weights or whatever it is. But you're doing that in a fasted state, meaning, so if all throughout the day, right, I'm depleting those storages in the muscle and liver, then attacking those in the fat cells, your body at night replenishes and replaces from the storage, right? If you're looking to replace something in your store, where are you going to go? To your storage. Hey, what do we have in the warehouse? The same thing your body does with fat. What we got in the warehouse? Your warehouse is your fat cells, right? And we want to do that, right? So your body grabs from your warehouse of fat cells and restores it in the muscles. So now your body is actually in a fat mobilization mode. It mobilizes fat internally. It's going to keep doing that until you break that cycle. Until his body's like, oh, okay, now I can start storing again. It's going to keep grabbing from the storage until it starts storing. That's why it's great to do like fasted cardio in the morning while you're in that fat mobilization mode. And like whether it's 3 times a week, going to walk, doing some high intensity interval training, going to lift 1 in the morning in a fasted state.
Do you want to show something?
Some movements.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So like say if you're at home, there's a lot of things that you can do. Like say if it's squat jumps, planks, burpees. I don't know if you'll be able to see if I do a squat jump. Yeah. Yeah. So like say you got a chair at the house, and this is great for This is great for individuals who haven't been, working out a lot, or they've had injuries, things of that nature. They're just trying to get into it, right? So, like, say you have chair. There's a lot of things you can do on chair. I'm sitting on a normal chair, right? I can do squats on this chair. Tap and come up, right? Tap it and come up. Notice, but I did not sit down, right? Muscles are tense, coming down, tapping it, and coming up. Yeah, tapping it, coming up. So, like, say you got the squats right there on the chair, right? Whether it's single, now you're getting really, really crazy now. Single legs, under control, but you always have that chair, right? Always have that chair. You got single legs, squats, always have that chair, okay? Then you have for your triceps, this brings up random memories. Think about tricep women. When I very first got into training, I was actually a trainer. My very first job was, I was hired as a trainer in Planet Fitness. And ladies used to always come, hey, how do I get rid of my wings? They always say the wings. I always say my angel wings. It's so funny. It's a random thought. But this is a way to attack those areas. You got to build the muscle. If you build the muscle under the fat, when you burn the fat, the muscle is there to replace it. Okay? Doing dips. Here. Boom. Now we got dips. Going down. Coming up. Going down. Coming up. So like say you do squats, dips, come over here, working the abs, still on that same exact chair, and we're here. Right? Doing some type of inverted mountain climber. Notice I crunch my body there, right? So boom. So now let's turn it into a workout. Okay, just those 3 simple moves, 3 random moves that I thought of working with the chair at home, very simple. Like say you do 45 seconds of work, 10 seconds rest between each one for 3 rounds. Okay, so now I'm doing 45 seconds of squats. 45 seconds. Ding, 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 ding. It's going to, whatever app device you have, it's going to ding. And it's going to, you have 10 seconds to go into the dips. Right? Dips, 45 seconds. Now, we're not doing a rep count. Unless you want to challenge yourself. In that first round, you see what rep count you do. And try to hit that rep count or above within that 45 seconds. Right? 45 seconds here. 10 seconds rest, then it's going to be 45 seconds here, right? Back and forth. So now we're working upper body, lower body, and abs, and that might take you 30 minutes, And because it's a high intensity interval training HIIT session, your body is in constant movement, and you're burning a lot of calories because your heart rate is going to be increased at a steady rate. It's going to be higher, slightly lower than high, then going back up. Instead of taking 2 hours, Instead of taking 2 hours to do a workout, but now you're resting 5 minutes at a time. If you're keeping that heart rate up throughout the duration of your workout, you can shorten it and increase your fat mobilization capacity.
And we got one question from our viewers, and the question said, many studies say that exercise contributes only 20% in weight loss, the rest 80% is diet. Is it true? I would definitely agree with that to a certain extent. I wouldn't say only 20%, only just a negative term, because it does, that 20% is a lot, it helps a lot. You can transform your body way to another level. But yes, diet, your nutritional intake, I don't like the term diet. Diet is so, you're on a diet, excuse me, let you go over there. Stopping somebody
it's diet. Diets never work, Never work. Diets don't work, right? But if you change your nutritional intake, now I'm talking about a lifestyle, okay? Definitely. You can do that and not do nothing else, and you can see that foundation of your body change, and that comes from the simple knowledge of knowing your calories. That's the great thing about the app. It's a really great thing about the app because now now you're getting so much knowledge from it of like, oh, dang, this has that. I didn't know it has that. Now you can look for other alternatives. to actually replace those things. And then now you have something that works for you. That's what I love about fitness and the body. You can always just try different things out. And that's definitely. So whoever wrote that, that's actually a really good question. Is I actually tell people start there. Start right there, because I know people who work out for 5 years didn't do that. And I'm like, if you see them in Walmart or see them in Target, Target, you're like, oh, they work out. You work out 5 years? Okay. I don't want to do what you're doing. Okay, I don't want to waste it, because working out, although I say I enjoy it, but it hurts me just as much as it hurts anybody else. That burn does not go away. It definitely hurts. But definitely starting there with that, you will see a big change, and that will help motivate you to.
Exactly. And once you start getting those changes or that improvement in your body, you tend to do more.
Yeah.
You want to stick to that thing.
Definitely.
Even in the food or the exercise, anything.
That's the motivation.
You remember your line you always say, body has to give you results.
It has to. If you keep it simple, doing the equation, at the end of that, it always equals the same. But you got to stick with it. As soon as you change something up, that's literally simple physics.
So I think you have to keep faith in yourself and just love the process. It's not a short-term thing that
Correct.
you just do it and
Correct.
that's done. It's your life. It's
Correct.
your lifestyle. You have
Correct.
to maintain it throughout your life.
Correct.
To be healthy.
Correct.
Right. You don't want to get sick, because overweight is the issue of many health diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I'm just asking you, because we get one more question, that does walk really help? So yeah, if people are not able to go in a gym, they cannot afford that, or they can do walk inside, outside, anywhere.
Yes.
30 minutes walk.
Walking helps out on so many different levels. It's crazy. I not just a weight loss. We're talking about down to structurally of your skeletal system and how it strengthens your bones. Is by continually moving, whether it's just walking, your body prepares for that. Your body will prepare for whatever you put it through.
Yes.
So if all we're doing is sitting down, eating whatever, watching TV, your body's going to prepare for that.
Right.
All right, so another day what we're going to do, sit down. Cool. I ain't got to touch none of my stored cells. I don't have to use none of these muscles. Honestly, your body doesn't need muscles. You see people survive in third world countries, they got big bellies, and you see nothing but their bones, or you see their intestines, because your body really doesn't need muscle, so it will get rid of it in a heartbeat. So that's why it takes a lot to grow it, and it takes continual work to actually maintain it. But it's definitely doable by just simple walking. Yes, whoever asked that question, get up and walk. I would challenge yourself, whether it's, hey, this week I'm walking 4 miles. And you look up, it's Wednesday, you can walk 6. An estimate.
I have one more question that says, how do I get to know the food suits my body and lifestyle?
That is definitely, that's a question for a lot of people. They say how much food or what types of food is good for my body and what's not. That question is probably on a lot of people's mind. Honestly, but you don't know. Until you try it. That's what this is. That's the name of the game. But whatever you're trying, you got to fully commit to it. Because you can try 16 different things, and none of them work for you because you didn't commit. But those 16 different individuals who you got that information from, it worked for them because they committed.
Exactly.
I was vegan for about 4 or 5 months. I lost a lot of weight. I was vegan. I was legit. Eating a ton of lentils. That's when I realized lentils got a lot of protein. It's one of those things you don't know. It's great. Lentils are amazing. Got a ton of protein. A ton of lentils and fruit. I lost a lot of weight, but I also lost a lot of muscle. I was still getting my but what realized with me, when I realized that didn't work for my body structure, is when my internal temperature started to change. So I used to be always a hot individual. The next thing I'm always cold. Once I realized that, and then looking at my pictures and my wife telling me, you sure you don't want no meat? You got this burger. You sure you don't want this burger? And not only that, but once I realized that, hey, it doesn't work. But I have a brother-in-law who didn't eat meat, and he felt amazing throughout the whole process. And completely, before he even started working out with me, he lost a lot of weight. Lost a lot of weight. A lot of weight. John, my bad, call him by his name. But he lost a lot, you know, and because of that, because he changed his diet, his nutritional intake from the jump at the beginning, now he will never go back to the person he was before.
Exactly.
But before that, he was like, dang, I'm never going to get from him. Like,
the first step is you have to start. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you so very much. It was helpful. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and there's so much information they're going with that in their minds. And we would love to have you again in a
Yes, it. Thank you for having me. It was definitely fun. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure you comment even below. If you comment below, even more questions after if you go back and watch this. If you're not live, I'll make sure I'll come on and I'll definitely answer your questions in the comments below. So make sure you leave those.
Thank you.